Good afternoon, everyone. And guess what? I have no announcements to make. So we go straight into your questions. Let's start.
Thank you. Vitaly Sizov, Freedom TV channel. Do you have comment on negotiation in Geneva, how EU was involved in this negotiation? Do you aware about what they discuss and about the result? Some updates? Thank you.
Thank you, Vitaly. So we start with the discussions between Ukraine, Russia and the US in Geneva. Anwar.
Yes, thank you, Paola. Good morning, colleagues. As we have voiced before, we welcome the efforts by the United States to stop the killing in Ukraine and Russia's war of aggression and achieve just and lasting peace. International borders must not be changed by force. Ukraine is fully committed to progressing in peace talks and agreed to an unconditional ceasefire almost a year ago. On the other hand, what do we see? We see that Russia continues its relentless attacks on Ukraine. This does reflect that Russia is not ready for peace. We still do not see tangible signs that Russia is engaging seriously on peace, and we also need to see that Europe's security and continental stability are ensured. Even this week, ahead of the peace talks, Ukraine experienced another massive missile and drone strike. According to Ukrainian authorities, main targets were energy and civilian infrastructure. The EU and our member states, we are ready to further contribute to peace talks and to security guarantees. We are already contributing by strengthening Ukrainian armed forces and at the same time strengthening European defense. As long as the bloodshed continues, we will continue to put pressure on Russia. Sanctions have a double effect of limiting Russia's capability to wage war against Ukraine and at the same time to push Putin to come to the negotiating table. Russia's war of aggression against Ukraine involves clearly a victim and an aggressor, and Europe will continue to maintain this pressure until we have a just and lasting peace for Ukraine. And I will stress here the support that we have already in place for Ukraine in terms of security guarantees, with Ukraine that must have robust and credible security guarantees to effectively defend its sovereignty and territorial integrity. On the end of the coalition of the willing, we see discussions ongoing, and the EU will continue to contribute to Ukraine's security guarantees through our two missions, EUMAM and EUAM, and through defence cooperation. We will also recall the role of the accession process. We will continue supporting Ukraine's advancement on its accession path. An accession of Ukraine to the EU would constitute a security guarantee of its own right. Together with the prosperity offer, we're working with the US and Ukraine on a single unified prosperity framework for Ukraine and looking at how we can boost together the prosperity of Ukraine at the moment we achieve a peaceful ceasefire. So this is what I can give you in terms of comprehensive overview on our position for the time being.
Thank you, Anwar. So a detailed reply, but also to help put again into context where we are in the whole discussions with Russia and Ukraine. Yes.
Tatiana Vysotska, small follow-up. Yesterday, 4 countries, 3 of them EU countries, sent their national security advisors to be present at the sidelines of the negotiations in Geneva. It's France, Germany, Italy, and United Kingdom. Did this country inform the Commission about the results of their talks? They had talks with Americans, they had talks with Ukrainians. And on which stage is the process of choosing the special envoy of the European Union for the negotiations, peace negotiations for Ukraine? Thank you.
Thank you. Look, on this, the EU is constantly in coordination with Ukraine and with the United States, and as clearly communicated on so many different occasions, nothing can be decided about Ukraine without Europe at the negotiating table. And on your second question, nothing to add to what we have already been saying in the recent times. Thank you.
And we are also, of course, in touch with the member states that you mentioned. As you know, there's been really a consistent and convergent effort on European side to have a common stance when it comes to these discussions, when it comes to the negotiations for a peace deal. The questions to Anwar, please.
Radio Liberty reported a few days ago that Kaja Kallas has distributed a paper among EU member states which, within the framework of negotiations with Russia, demands a ban on Russian military presence and deployments in Belarus, Ukraine, Moldova, Georgia and Armenia. Can you provide more details on this? Why is this important? And also, do you expect that all 27 member countries would agree on this? Thank you.
Thank you very much. I will not be commenting in terms of any angle that you have raised, but what I can say on the matter is that the approach by the High Representative is about our interests in a secure and stable Europe. The EU supports peace talks and strives for a comprehensive, just and lasting peace for Ukraine. Let's recall that Russia's war of aggression against Ukraine clearly involves a victim and an aggressor. It has also been very clearly communicated before that any plan to end Russia's war of aggression in Ukraine will need support from the European Union to work. We need to see genuine commitment on the side of Russia that it truly seeks peace. And we also need to see that Europe's interests are guaranteed and represented.
Good. Please. Yes.
Hi, I'm Marit Gwynn for Euronews, not on Ukraine, but I assume it's on foreign affairs. It's on the Board of Peace, because we know that several member states have voiced concerns around the Commission's decision to send Commissioner Šuica to Washington to represent the Commission at the meeting that Donald Trump is hosting today, not least because the member state were not consulted on this decision, but also they've raised a host of concerns around the mandate of Commissioner Šuica, because obviously the Commission doesn't set foreign policy on its own. So the question is, do you defend the decision to choose Commissioner Šuica as the representative? And also, what measures or steps are you taking to ensure that this is not interpreted as a common EU endorsement of the Board of Peace? Because, as we understand, you are still maintaining your position that you will not accept membership on it. Thank you.
Good. And on this, usually it would be for Guillaume. So let us get back to you, but let me first make sure that there are no further questions for Anwar. Please.
Hello, good morning. Pietro Guastamacchia, ANSA News Agency. On the negotiating format in Geneva, we know that the two European delegations that fly to Geneva were not allowed to participate in this format. The format has not been officially established, but what we see is that de facto there's a format that's a Ukrainian, Russian, and American, without European in the room. So are you satisfied of this current format or not?
Thank you. I will here recall what I've been saying and what our principals have been saying from the start. Nothing can be decided about Ukraine without Europe at the table, and I think it's crystal clear.
Thank you, Anwar. Other questions to Anwar? No, then we can ask Guillaume to come up and recall our position on the Board of Peace.
Good afternoon. Indeed, I will recall a position that we have already explained on Monday, but I'm happy to do so. So Commissioner Šuica is participating today on behalf of the European Commission in the context of the Board of Peace meeting in Washington, D.C. So the participation of the Commissioner will really focus on Gaza and its reconstruction. So it's important, again, to mention that with this participation, the European Commission is not becoming a member of the Board of Peace. Our participation is really to be seen in the context of our long-standing commitment for the implementation of the ceasefire in Gaza, as well as our commitment to take part in international efforts when it comes to the recovery and reconstruction of Gaza. We do believe that we have an important role to play. As you know, we are the biggest external provider of assistance to the Palestinians, together with our long-term and recovery assistance, but also the humanitarian aid. We do believe that we need to be at the table, otherwise we will simply be a payer and not a player. Let me stress that 14 member states are also represented at this meeting at different levels, together with also regional partners, European partners, with whom we've been working and discussing precisely in the context of these international efforts for the Gaza peace talks.
Thank you. Yes, you have a follow-up.
Thank you so much. I just wanted to ask whether any legal advice or any advice was sought before taking this decision, because, as you probably know, the Charter of the Board of Peace does not mention the word Gaza once, and we know that the Commission itself has raised concerns about the compatibility of this Charter with the UN. So my question is, was there advice on this issue sought before the decision was taken to send Suiza to the first formal meeting of the board? Thank you.
Look, when it comes to a position on the Board of Peace, it has been explained several times from this podium, and the situation is not changing. As I said, we're not a member of the Board of Peace. The Commission was invited to participate. We're not a member, but we decided, for the reason that I just explained, that it would be important for us to take part in the discussion. So it's really important, once again, for us to be closely associated to the discussions, the wider discussions on the peace talks, and the day after, meaning the recovery and reconstruction. So it is really in this context and really in this essence that Commissioner Suiza will be present in DC today, is really to showcase once again the support that the EU has been providing to Palestine, and also our readiness to continue our support in the future, as I said, for reconstruction and recovery. All of this under the United Nations Security Council Resolution 2803.
Thank you. Finbar.
Thanks. Finbar, Birmingham with the South China Morning Post. A majority of member states have sent somebody to the meeting of the Board of Peace. The Commission is sending somebody, but the European Union does not recognise the format. Is there not a danger of, by sending so many people there, you're actually legitimising something that you feel, isn't legitimate? Wouldn't it have been better to maybe send one representative for the EU rather than a whole lot of people? Thanks.
As Guillaume already said, so Commissioner Suiza is there for the European Commission, and as said, we are not here with endorsing the Board of Peace. Actually, we have expressed our concerns with some of the issues in relation to the Board of Peace. At the same time, given our role as really the biggest donor and the biggest, one of the biggest players when it comes to Gaza, when it comes to Palestine, it is important that we are at the table, as Guillaume said, to be not just a payer but also a player. So that's the context in which the Commission is being represented by Commissioner Suiza at this meeting today. And we move on to other topics. For Guillaume? Oui, rien.
Bonjour, Adrien Decalan, l'AFP. Non, c'est le même sujet. Est-ce que vous avez un mandat en fait des États membres pour faire ça? Parce que certains États membres, la France en particulier, critiquent un problème même légal de partir comme ça dans ce Board of Peace sans consulter les États membres. Et est-ce qu'effectivement ça pose pas un problème parce que ça légitime un organe qui est contesté ici?
Ça aussi a été répondu. On est là en représentation de la Commission européenne. En même temps, on est en contact avec les États membres, et ça, Anouar l'avait dit aussi, pour les tenir au courant, notamment aussi des discussions aujourd'hui. Et on clôture ce sujet. Il y a sûrement d'autres sujets aussi aujourd'hui. Vas-y. Mania.
Sorry, Paula, just a quick follow-up to get it right. First of all, Maria Psara with FC Newspaper. The Commission didn't ask the opinion of the Member States because the invitation was addressed to the President of the European Commission, and some Member States took another invitation bilaterally. This is one explanation, maybe, I'm wondering. And the second question, yes, you are in contact with the Member States that will go to the US today and participate either as members or as observers. But a follow-up on Finbar's question, is there any coordination so that all these Member States and the European Commission act like one voice in the room? Thank you.
So indeed, Maria, you're absolutely right. The participation of the Commissioner follows an invitation that had been addressed to President von der Leyen, absolutely. And in terms of discussions with Member States, indeed, various instances where the issue, including the participation, has been discussed with Member States as recently as yesterday, I understand, at the Ambassadors' Group. Good. And now we really close on this topic. Other questions to Guillaume? Vitaly.
Thank you. Vitaly Sizov, Freedom TV channel. Do you know something about plan to give Ukraine some special plan of EU membership as a part of peace negotiation? Maybe not 2027 years, but do you know something about preparation of some special procedure, not maybe full membership, but partial or in other form for Ukraine? Thank you.
Thank you for your question. What I can say is indeed the discussions that you're referring to relate to the ongoing peace talks, and in this context, EU accession of Ukraine to the EU is indeed being discussed. But we cannot at this stage really prejudge the outcome of these discussions. What I can say is that indeed EU integration can contribute to our common objective, meaning securing peace and prosperity to Ukraine. For instance, I mean, this is what Anwar just explained a couple of minutes ago. We also have this prosperity framework, really also in the context of Ukraine, making sure that it can be prosperous in the future when it comes to after the ceasefire. So this ambition needs to support our goal to make really our union stronger and more independent. So when it comes to the accession discussions with Ukraine, despite a very challenging situation and the war context, we have seen that Ukraine has made steady progress when it comes to the technical discussion and the advancements on the reforms. This was also highlighted in our previous enlargement report. What we need to see from Ukraine is really from this level of determination to be sustained in the long run. So what I can say is that we will continue to work side by side with our Ukrainian counterparts to make sure that they can access the EU as soon as possible.
Okay, thank you. And the questions to Guillaume, who, by the way, today is also stepping in for Marcus on migration topics, notably. No? Then we can move on. David.
Hi. I had a question about the tentative agenda. I mean, you've explained many times that it's tentative. But I was wondering, on the 26th of February, we've got the Industrial Accelerator Act down. And obviously that's tentative because it's in the agenda. But it says TBC. And I was wondering, what does that indicate? What does that add? Does it make it more tentative? Or could you explain? Thanks.
Thank you. I hadn't noticed, actually, that we added a TBC. For me, TBC doesn't add much to the tentative nature of the planning list. As usual, yes. So the initial planning was for next week. We will not only be able to confirm this definitely on Monday when we have the Hebdo, and we'll see if the file has reached maturity for adoption next week. So on Monday we should be able to confirm whether it is confirmed or not. Yes.
Can I pick you up on that thing about maturity? So the file has not reached maturity at this point in time. Can I understand you correctly on that?
Yes, but in any case, it only reaches maturity upon adoption, right? Every step until adoption is part of the maturing process. So yes, obviously not yet, but it could still mature until next week. We'll see. Attends, Adrien, tu as une question. Je vais varier un peu et je reviens.
Merci. Raphaël Zwalen, l'agence de presse suisse. Dans les médias suisses aujourd'hui, on a pu lire que les accords entre l'Union européenne et la Suisse seront signés le 2 mars, lundi 2 mars. Est-ce que vous pouvez confirmer cette information? Merci.
Alors, Raphaël, je voudrais bien pouvoir confirmer, mais il y a encore quelques procédures à franchir, et notamment une confirmation la semaine prochaine, si je ne me trompe pas, au niveau du Conseil des affaires générales. Donc, je pense et j'espère qu'on va pouvoir confirmer la semaine prochaine, une fois qu'on aura couvert toutes les étapes dans les procédures. Other questions? There in the back, hiding. Oui.
Quick question about competitiveness. Is it correct to say that the next time this subject will come up formally will be at the summit on the 19th and 20th?
So, competitiveness will be for sure a topic in the upcoming European Council in March. Yes. I can't tell if it will be the only one, but it will be a key topic of the next European Council. Of course, when it comes to European Council, it's always good to also confirm with the Council, but that's the information we have indeed. Stefan.
Yeah, I think it's a question for Thomas on reports that the U.S. government is planning, that the Trump administration is planning an online tool to, in a way, circumvent DSA, DSM, to diffuse so-called banned information in Europe on their own platform. If you can comment on this. Thank you.
Sorry to disappoint you, but no comment on this.
Yes, please.
Gaël Pépin, contexte. J'aimerais quand même avoir une réponse là-dessus, parce qu'effectivement, c'est une réaction directe au DSA, très clairement. Et la Commission est quand même attaquée de toutes parts là-dessus par les US. Donc, est-ce que vous avez une réaction au projet du département d'État américain? Merci.
Bonne tentative, Genaël. Bon, c'est un projet. Déjà, c'est un projet de loi. On n'a pas l'habitude de commenter sur des projets de loi. Je peux te rappeler de manière générale peut-être que, d'une part, la Commission ne bloque pas accès à des sites Internet. C'est la compétence des autorités nationales. Si un site web potentiellement peut aller à l'encontre d'une loi nationale, une loi européenne, une loi internationale, on parle ici, je ne sais pas, par exemple, de sites en ligne qui font la promotion de hate speech ou, par exemple, de contenus terroristes. Ces contenus n'ont pas leur place en Europe. C'est la raison pour laquelle on a le règlement sur les services numériques, le DSA, qui protège justement la liberté d'expression. On ne va pas élaborer plus que ça. Je vais juste rappeler en dernier point qu'aucune juridiction à travers le monde ne peut donner des conseils à l'Europe en matière de liberté d'expression en ligne. Il y a des index publics. Les États qui font la promotion et qui respectent plus le droit à l'expression et à la liberté d'expression en ligne sont les États européens.
Finalement, pas mal d'éléments qui peuvent être utilisés. Vas-y, tu as une question de suivi.
Vraiment pour insister, parce que ça suit dernièrement la publication par le Congrès américain de l'amende contre X complète avec les informations sur les ONG qui ont contribué à cette décision, la publication de 10 ans d'échanges entre les entreprises tech américaines, les NGOs, la Commission sur le DSA. Là, ça fait quand même partie d'une stratégie. Est-ce que vous n'avez vraiment pas de réaction à cette stratégie et à ce que fait le département américain? Merci.
Non, effectivement, d'un point de vue général, je peux juste rappeler que il ne faut pas oublier que la Commission européenne, et c'est la force de l'Union européenne, on reste calme, on reste objectif, on est transparent, on a une législation souveraine qui est en place, qui s'adresse à toutes les entreprises qui offrent leurs services dans l'Union européenne. On ne cible aucune entreprise sur base de son pays d'origine. Donc, je pense que la Commission européenne le prouve tous les jours. On met en œuvre notre législation, peu importe les stratégies qui puissent exister à travers le monde. On est solide, on a des cas qui sont solides et on met en œuvre notre législation pour protéger à la fois nos citoyens et nos entreprises.
D'autres questions pour Thomas? Oui.
Hi, thanks. It's Rosie Burchard for DW. Thomas, I wonder do you have a comment for us on this German court ruling which ordered X to release data to researchers regarding the Hungarian elections? The reason I ask is there are quite a lot of American voices online saying this amounts to the likes of foreign interference in the Hungarian elections. Can you give us your thoughts on those claims? Thank you.
Thanks again. Seems to be a no-comment midday today for me. I don't comment individual court judgments. I can just recall what we do. First, elections are a matter for citizens at national level. You mentioned the Hungarian elections. It's the sole choice of the Hungarian citizens to choose whom they want to vote for. Only them, only them. What we do with the Digital Services Act, we hold online platforms accountable, generally speaking, because we know that algorithmically they can potentially influence the debate that is happening online. We try to avoid this, again, for the same reason, because elections are a matter for the national authorities, the national member states, and ultimately citizens in the European Union.
Thank you. Thomas? Yes, Odile.
Merci. Oui, Odile Harvey pour Radio Nord-Bretagne. Il se déroule en ce moment à Delhi, comme vous savez, le sommet India AI Impact Summit. Et on constate qu'il y a une très forte tendance de l'Inde d'attirer davantage d'investissements dans le secteur de cette technologie. Et par la même occasion, de devenir aussi peut-être d'amplifier sa voix dans le sud global. Comment est-ce que vous vous situez? Ce n'est pas encore fini. Peut-être que la vice-présidente Virkkunen n'est pas encore rentrée, mais est-ce que vous nous informerez sur ces nouveaux développements très importants pour le monde entier, en fait?
Merci Odile, tout à fait. La vice-présidente exécutive Leyen Virkkunen est actuellement sur place en Inde lors de ce sommet. Elle effectivement fait son travail et représente la Commission aussi sur place à ce sommet sur l'intelligence artificielle. Il y aura effectivement quelques annonces qui seront faites aussi un peu plus tard, donc je t'invite à suivre ce qu'elle va annoncer. De manière générale, en termes d'attrait et d'attirer des investissements, la Commission européenne a été très très claire. On a déjà reçu un grand nombre de demandes et de propositions des États membres et de l'industrie pour développer ces usines d'IA, donc ces gigafabriques comme elles ont été évoquées. On a potentiellement plus de 230 milliards qui sont sur la table. Donc l'Europe a réellement une carte à jouer en matière d'IA. Il s'agit aujourd'hui d'être compétitif. Je vais faire écho aussi à l'accord commercial qui a été signé avec l'Inde. L'Inde a bien entendu des talents, notamment dans le domaine du numérique. Donc bien entendu, échanger avec nos partenaires sur ce sujet-là est une priorité absolue pour la Commission européenne.
Voilà. D'autres questions pour Thomas? Et je vois plein de questions en ligne. Alors, est-ce qu'il y en a pour Thomas parmi celles en ligne? Elisa? Ok, donc parce que je vois toujours des mains, mais à mon avis, d'après ce que j'ai compris, c'est pas pour Thomas. Donc on essaye Elisa. Grizi.
Hi, I think I just want to follow up a little bit more on the reports about this platform by the U.S. government. If you can in part repeat your statement in English, I would really appreciate
Elisa,
it.
we cannot hear you very well. It's
Hello?
Yeah.
I just want to follow up on the Reuters report about this freedom.gov platform. And I want to ask you, I mean, it sounds like this will basically be a VPN, but VPNs are not legal in the EU. So if they were to launch this indeed to help people avoid EU rules, what can we do about it?
Elisa, I think Thomas has been very clear about this. The reason why we're not commenting further is precisely because we, as seems to be also the case with you, are looking into it from mere reports. We don't have any further official confirmation of this. So that's why we're not going further into it. You've mentioned a report by an outlet, and we've also read it there, but we don't have any further information. Therefore, we're not further commenting on it. Stefan.
Yes, I mean, combined with reports that the MAGA movement is trying to finance NGOs in Europe and think tanks to support extreme right parties. I mean, if you see the whole picture, isn't this a case for the Democracy Shield, this time against American negative influence? Thank you.
I will not go more than that into details of Democracy Shield. I mean, if we just take a step back, Stefan, on this, let's look at what we are doing. I mean, and Olaf was here during the trade negotiations. He was here in this podium, very calm, saying what we stand for, what we're looking for, what our vision is. This is what we should do from here, and this is what we're constantly doing from this podium. We are calm, we enforce our legislation, we're not fueling debates. We are a reliable partner and will keep remaining a reliable partner.
Thank you. Other questions to Thomas? No. We change topic again. Adrien.
Oui, Adrien, l'AFP. C'est encore une question d'agenda. Est-ce que tu peux confirmer que Ursula von der Leyen ira au Groenland au mois de mars et nous expliquer un peu pourquoi elle y va, quel est un peu le but de cette visite?
Alors, Adrien, oui, je peux confirmer que Madame la Présidente von der Leyen envisage de faire une visite à la région du Arctique et qui comprendra aussi le Groenland. C'est prévu en mars, mais on n'a pas encore de date concrète ni plus de détails à partager pour l'instant. On reviendra là-dessus quand on aura plus d'éléments. Yes, Vitali.
Vitaly Sizov, Freedom TV channel on energy question. Yesterday was announcement that two countries of EU, they stop supply of some fuel to Ukraine. Do you know about this situation? Is it aligned with the rule of EU, and what could be done to do something? Thank you.
We discussed this here on Monday and on Tuesday, and it is a situation that we keep following very closely. We are in contact with all of the parties, and we have seen statements on decisions to halt diesel exports to Ukraine, and we are now currently, I mean, we're in the process of assessing this information because this is very much a developing story. In principle, any such export restrictions would only be possible under very strict conditions. But again, this is something that we now have to assess. There's a lot that has been happening in the past days. I don't really have much to add to what I said earlier this week. Close contact with all relevant national authorities, and to repeat that our priority is to ensure security of supply in our member states, and to add that we do not see any short-term risk of to this security of supply, given that both Hungary and Slovakia hold 90 days' worth of emergency oil stocks in reserve. And we have, of course, we are in correspondence with both Hungary, Slovakia, as well as Croatia, as well as in touch with Ukrainians. And I want to clarify one thing I mentioned on Monday, I think Monday or Tuesday, that we are in contact with Ukrainian authorities on the timeline of repairing this pipeline. It is very, very important that this is not misinterpreted to mean that we would be exerting any kind of pressure on Ukraine to repair the pipeline. We are in contact. We want to get a full understanding and clarity of repair timeline and of the situation where we are at the moment. One thing to add as an update to what we have been saying before is that we have called an ad hoc oil coordination group to meet and discuss the impact of the supply disruption and possible alternatives to fuel supply. And this is currently planned to take place next Wednesday, 25th. I think 25th is Wednesday, right? Yeah. So this is where we are. So and that is the forum again where we can have a conversation with everybody involved from our member states, and to take stock where we are and to have a full picture and understanding of the ways forward. But given that there are lots of developments taking place as we speak, have taken place in the past 2 days, we really have to assess very, very well what exactly is said and communicated and what is actually happening on the ground. And this is where we are at the moment.
Yes. And online we have Sandor Giros. It's a follow-up. Let's see, because I'm probably Sandor's question is also related. Sandor, go ahead.
Yes, hello. Exactly, it's a follow-up because today the Hungarian government threatened that they might go further and they might cut electricity and gas supply. And yesterday, Slovak a very similar statement, and we know that the situation in Ukraine related to the energy network is very dire. Is the Commission concerned about these statements, and are you taking any steps to, coordinate with other member states who could step in as a provider to, have the missing energy transport? Thank you.
As I said, we follow the situation very, very closely to be able to have a full picture of what is happening, and then to make an assessment what the consequences of various intentions and actions are. And as I said, there will be an oil coordination group meeting next week to take stock and to discuss with the participants. I do not have any expression of different kind of emotions of us being worried or anything like this at the moment, because at the moment we are receiving this information, we are assessing it, and we are in contact with our member states, and we are making sure that everybody is getting the energy supplies that they're supposed to be getting.
So, in other words, security of supply is always a concern for us, and on which we work actively and proactively. And in this case, obviously, we're also concerned with the security of supply of Ukraine itself, finding itself in an extremely difficult condition in a harsh winter. And this is also confirmed by, notably, the support that we've been giving to Ukraine in all types of forms, as recently also with generators. And you know our work that has been going on for already before the war, but certainly as of the war, to ensure supplies to Ukraine in this extremely difficult conditions. Yes, please.
Thank you, Vibor Vlajnic, Croatian Radio Television. Could you tell us something more about this oil group that will meet? On which level and who will be the participants, location? So any details about that? Thank you.
I do not have details to the extent of where they will be physically meeting. We will obviously keep you updated, but it's the usual coordination group between that is presided by the Commission, and then the participation by member states. and the level, likely technical level, but we will see. We will see. But in any case, I mean, it's a regular meeting, but we have called an extra one now because we need to have a full picture and then have the possibility to have everybody not under the table, around the table to discuss this. Sorry.
Yes, you have a follow-up? Go ahead.
Yeah, just quickly, because Hungary asked European Commission permission to use the Adriatic pipeline to get Russian oil. So is Commission in the process of deciding that, or has any decision been made? Thank you.
As I said, there is a lot happening now, given the halting of oil from Druzhba via Ukraine. And you have seen, and we have seen, all the statements that have been made. We continue to be in contact with Hungary, Slovakia, Croatia, as well as Ukraine. It is very much a developing story. We have received this information and we are currently assessing it, and we need to have a very, very thorough assessment of what exactly do these actions, what kind of consequences do they have, what will happen. And as Paula said, it's really our priority, our focus as the legislator in this one is to ensure the security of supply of our member states.
Thank you. Yes, please.
Thank you so much for the floor. I would like just to clarify. So you are not demanding that Ukraine restore the oil supply by the Druzhba pipeline as soon as possible, or you are pushing Ukraine to do that fast? Because, as I understand, there are some technical reasons. And do you have some deadlines for Ukraine to restore these operations, or to be moved to other ways? And also Slovakia is asking for a monitoring group to visit Druzhba pipeline. Are you aware of that? Will the Commission send someone to just assess what's happening on the field? Thank you.
Okay. So on Ukraine restoring the Druzhba pipeline, I want to be very, very clear that we are in contact with all relevant authorities, including Ukraine, to seek clarity on the repair timeline. We're not pushing, we're not pressuring or giving deadlines to Ukraine to do this. Also, given the context that throughout the 4 years of the war, Russia has used Ukrainian energy infrastructure. They have strategically and systematically destroyed it, and Ukraine has shown superhuman efforts to keep repairing and to keep restoring, much with the support of EU member states and the Commission that we have mobilized to ensure that the hospitals stay warm and the households stay warm and that the industry can work. So we do not have in this case, we're not pushing, we're not pressuring, there are no deadlines. It has to be very clear. But of course, given the situation, given the context, we are, of course, in touch of any timelines. Because at the same time, we of course know that Ukraine has diligently sought to prepare energy infrastructure in the country that has been destroyed throughout the war.
And unfortunately, this is just yet another reminder of how volatile we are by depending on imports of fossil fuels from Russia. Yet another example which makes the case for our diversification agenda. We move on because I see that today many topics still coming our way. Go ahead.
Hi, Simone Martuscelli from Italian news agency AGI. Yesterday, the Italian government approved a decree that tackles energy prices, and among the measures, there's a measure regarding ETS, which sort of moves the cost of the ETS allowances from the producer to the final bill in order to lower the marginal prices. So I was this measure has to be notified to the Commission. So I was wondering if it was indeed notified, and if you can add anything on it, it would be very useful. Thank you.
So indeed, this issue also came up already earlier in the press room when the law was not yet adopted. So we have our experts are currently looking into the text, and we need to make a full assessment before we can reply to more sectoral-specific questions such as the ETS. There are also, I understand, there are state aid-related issues. Ricardo is better informed on those. But given that it was adopted yesterday evening, we really need to take a thorough look of exactly what exactly is proposed there before we can make an assessment of how that complies with our current rules.
Thank you. Now, Rebecca Gualandi. Online. I understand also for Anna Kaiser. Rebecca? Rebecca.
Sorry. Hi, thank you for taking my question. It's a follow-up from the question that was just asked about the Italian decree. Just simply whether currently, I know you need more time, but at the moment, it is expected to have huge impacts on the power and carbon markets. So do you have a comment on whether it would be approved that the state aid and state aid rules are going to be used to analyze this reform?
On the state aid side, Ricardo will come and clarify that part. That's more for him. I mean, your question was more on the state aid side.
Yes, but whether it's state aid or whether it's ETS or whether it is any other particular sector that this bill, which has just been adopted yesterday, as recently as yesterday is concerned, of course, we need to look into it in more detail before we can actually pronounce an assessment from this podium. Other questions to Anna Kaiser? David.
Two questions. One was that MOL and Slovnaft have a dispute with Yanav over the pipeline. I was wondering where that is. They sent a letter at the end of November. Where are we there? And then at the beginning of the week, we were asked about the exemption under Article 3M of the sanctions regime, to allow temporarily imports, seaborne crude into a member state. I was wondering, does that, it's not exactly clear, explicitly stated, but does that not require or authorization from the Commission? Can that member state go ahead? Thanks.
On your second question, which relates to sanctions, I leave that to my colleague Siobhan to clarify. On the first one also, which is about, you were referring to a dispute between two operators of a pipeline. We do not have any comment to make. It's better to address the questions directly to the companies.
David, a follow-up.
Sorry, they sent a letter to the Commission asking them to decide. They're arguing it's competition, it's energy market law. So they've raised the issue at the Commission. It's no longer at a company level. So I was wondering if you had any indication there.
I do not have any update to make on that.
So I don't see any other questions for Anna Kaiser. So we'll give the possibility for Ricardo just to remind us of what are the usual procedures in relation to the legislation that was adopted yesterday in Italy on energy and which contains some state aid-related provisions. Ricardo.
Good afternoon. I think concerning yesterday's Italian energy decree law, the Commission is indeed aware of the question, as Anna Kaiser has already pointed to. Coming on the other issue, as a general point, it is for member states to decide how and when and by how much they want to support a specific company or a sector. But if they decide to do so, it is then up to them to ensure that they are in compliance with EU law, including state aid law, if relevant.
Thank you. And now, benefiting from the presence of Ricardo here, any other questions for Ricardo? I don't see any. Other questions in the room? No. I still have some questions online. Let's see. I understand that I had overseen some questions on the foreign affairs, Anwar. From Nuruddin. We'll give, since we have a few minutes, we give still the possibility for Anwar to reply to your questions.
I have a couple of questions. One on Israel and European Union. Justice Minister of Israel said via his lawyer that the European Union is working to topple down the government of Israel. Do you have any comment, Anwar, on this? And the second question about Iran. There are enough indication or some indication that talks are progressing. Iran has something like 10 to 2 weeks to come back with the draft or to answer the question of the United States, but at the same time, military buildup is ongoing, and there is also enough indication that the military attack could be launched very soon, in a matter of days. Can you enlighten us if you have any idea of these negotiations, if they are really progressing? And also, is there any contingency planning from the European side that in case of a wide-scale war in Iran, what could be the impact on the Iranian people, the region, the migration issues? Is there any contingency plans how to face that? Thank you.
Thank you, Noureddin. I will start with Israel and then I will go to Iran. The claims made by a lawyer representing Justice Minister Yariv Levin regarding the European Union are entirely false, offensive, and unacceptable. I want to be clear from here. The European Union has never and will never attempt to bring down a democratically elected government. And we expect these comments to be withdrawn immediately. Allow me to also add that we are proud of our support for civil society organizations across the world and in the region, including those promoting the democratic values that lie at the core of the EU's relationship with the State of Israel, such as freedom of speech and the freedom to protest. Now, on Iran. In terms of the latest developments and the talks, we are encouraged by the reported progress in diplomatic talks between the United States and Iran, which we fully support. The EU continues to believe that a sustainable solution to the Iran nuclear issue can only be achieved through negotiations, which means diplomacy. Yet, it is high time for Iran to show it is serious in addressing the concerns of the international community. We maintain contact with all relevant parties, and we do stand ready to contribute to any meaningful diplomatic process. Then, in terms of the angle that you have raised, Noureddin, I will not be speculating further because this is a hypothetical scenario. What I can reiterate from this podium is that a military escalation would risk having heavy repercussions for the stability of the region. We welcome these talks between the US and Iran along the lines that I have outlined, and diplomacy must be given a chance. But again, we are, as EU, strongly committed to peace, security and stability in the Middle East, and I will recall that it is very crucial that all the parties abide by international law, show restraint and refrain from taking any action that could lead to a new escalation in the Middle East.
Thank you, Anwar. Any other questions? So we had already completed Anwar's cycle for the day. Any other topics for today? No? Then thank you very much for your participation and varied questions. Wish you a good afternoon.